Welcome to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur podcast. I am your host, Kayleigh Greenacre, a business strategist, coach, TEDx speaker, author, and your go-to woman for all things business strategy. I am obsessed with supporting female entrepreneurs to grow unstoppable six and multi-six-figure businesses that they love, giving them the freedom and life that they desire. During this podcast, I'll be sharing with you everything that you need to become a successful female entrepreneur, from the mindset shifts to sales and marketing strategies, and how to become an iconic leader that people can't get enough of. It is my mission to help you stand out, attract your dream clients and customers, and sell out of your offers with ease whilst building the business and life of your dreams. Let's make this your reality, ladies. Hello, ladies, and welcome to another episode of Actually I Can, the Female Entrepreneur podcast. And I'm joined today by the fabulous Elif Köse, who is the confidence architect and editor-in-chief of the Confidence magazine. And in today's episode, we are going to be diving into confidence, compassion, and connection, the foundations of unshakable leadership. Elif, it's such a pleasure to have you here on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Having met you only very recently, I've been following your journey and you are an inspirational woman. And thank you for doing all that work you're doing. It's so inspiring. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Gorgeous words, gorgeous words. And it's such a pleasure to have you here. And equally, you are an inspiring, incredible woman. And I'm really, really excited to dive into our episode today to talk all things confidence, compassion, and all of the work that you do as well. So I think what would be great is to start with doing a little bit of an introduction, if you're happy to do so. Can you share a little bit with our listeners, a little bit about you, your journey, and how you got to where you are today?
Of course, yeah, with pleasure. My journey has been a real transition from building something on the outside as a fashion designer to understanding what was actually happening on the inside of me. The journey started in fashion, and I started build businesses and created outfits and looks to make people feel and look confident. But what I realized that the more you work on yourself, the more you understand yourself, there is so much underneath all of those clothes and all those titles and all those um, belongings that we're carrying around. It gave me this realization that the confidence that has to come from inside. So I transitioned from a fashion designer who made a great success of her business to becoming a transformational confidence coach and now editor. Now been a year since I set up my Confidence magazine, and it's been a great success. It's actually moving faster than I was thinking. So it's been a great journey so far, and I notice there's so many people. We, I am one of those people myself, is that
Mm,
that we pay so much attention how we look, and we
mm,
build all these identities around um, to achieve more, to prove more, which was another very big thing for me, and create more. But what I wasn't doing is really looking for underneath it of why that was the reason I was doing everything. And then noticing that there was this little girl, Elif, 5, 6 year old, and constantly asking, do you see me? Am I enough now? Am I enough now? Am I worthy enough? So that journey from fashion and being these presentable, always looking superb with the fashion
mm.
designs and fashion shows across the globe to someone actually inside trying to be seen and proving her worthiness. It's been a journey. I hope that answers your questions.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing. And I think it's so interesting. So many female entrepreneurs that I meet, really interestingly, so many of us have, incredible stories. And a lot of it stems from how we grew up as young children, and it kind of gives us our reason why, our purpose, and leads us into what we're doing today. So I always think it's fascinating to find out people's sort of backgrounds and stories, and how they got to where they are today. So thank you for sharing that. So
You're
let's talk
welcome.
about confidence. Let's dive into this. I think with confidence, it's one of those words that's thrown around a little bit, isn't it? And there's a lot more to confidence than what we see on that surface level. So, what does true confidence actually mean beyond that surface level of appearing confident, especially when we're looking at online?
Well, confidence isn't how you appear to be, that's for sure. Because before I give you more in detail answer to that question, I want to say that what I see a lot of the time, women especially building externally so much, they are not really being honest with themselves. And confidence comes from that being honest with yourself, honest to your feelings and what is actually running the show for you. And confidence is not 100% how you look. So many times, what I notice, people are covering their insecurities with success, big
Yes.
houses, Bentleys, and so what is underneath it all? Why do I feel like I have to prove myself to the external with all these bits and bops and things to show the world that I am successful? When you go to that inside, the authentic you who is
Mm.
not afraid to be who she is. That's what the confidence is. And confidence can look different to every single one of us. Confidence can be to someone who has had a car accident and first time standing up on their feet. That could be the confidence that looked like to them that day. Or it could be your first sex after giving birth. Confidence can
Yeah.
look different to every single person. But in the true meaning of confidence to me is not performance. It is who you are when nobody is watching. And if you can't be that same person in every room with your honesty, because honesty to me is what converts into success.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And I think it's so interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people potentially think as well that confidence it comes from success. I think a lot of people under that assumption that in order to be confident, you have to succeed first. You have to achieve the milestones, and like you were talking about, the house and the car and this, that, and the other. But it's definitely not the case, is it? And I always think that actually,
Exactly, because success can make you look confident,
yeah.
but how you feel inside, if you don't feel enough, because if your sense of self is built around the outcomes, you will constantly work and chase another success, more validation, more proof, and that will never end. You'll wake up tomorrow morning, there will be another exercise technique that is the new trend now that you've got to do. So
Yeah.
when the real confidence to me comes from being able to really sit with yourself when there's nobody without having to earn your worth. That's to
Mm.
me that internal safety in your nervous system that doesn't have to prove you are confident. You are you. That's it. And people around me love me because of who I am, not because I'm trying to fit into this mold that wasn't ever built for me.
Mm. And do you think, you know, I think with lots of incredible women, not just entrepreneurs, just incredible women in general, there are so many capable, successful,
Mm.
and beautiful souled women. But so
Mhm.
many do tend to struggle with their confidence and ultimately with their self-belief as well. Why do you think that is? What is it specifically?
Um, because again, what we are doing instead of really doing it for ourselves because we grew up in an environment that we had to constantly show to say we are better, and if I fix this for that person I'll get their approval. If I shouldn't feel like this because society tells me to that I should be happy with it. I mean, how many people you've met in your life that they are staying in a marriage because it ticks all the boxes for everybody, but they are
Yeah.
not feeling happy. They are stuck. They're just that will, of course, that will rock your confidence. You're not gonna feel, you will look confident, you will look it, you've got the right looking, good looking husband, beautiful house, great car, your kids at private school, but I'm not good enough. I don't feel good enough inside because I'm not happy. This is ticking all the boxes for my neighbors, but
Hmm.
me, how about me? Because success doesn't actually heal the wounds of people. It just hides it. And that's what
Yes.
I see every time when I work with women. And it's okay. It's okay. The idea is to not suppress these emotions, not to hide behind these emotions. Really sit with it and understand and have compassion towards yourself. It's really
Mm.
important.
I think it's so easy to mask over, isn't it? It's easier for people to pretend that all is okay and, like you said, to perform rather than to face potentially deeper, I don't want to say issues, but deeper pieces of work that potentially need to be done, especially when it comes to confidence. And this links to self-compassion, right? What is self-compassion? Let's talk about that because it links so nicely with confidence. What is it? Why is it important?
Well, because what you've just said, people are trying to build confidence through actually rejecting themselves.
Yeah.
They are
Mm,
they are constantly saying, I need to be better. I need to
mm,
fix this. I should feel like this. I should be that. And they don't really realize that parts of them they're trying to fix were actually created to protect them. Because you've learned, if I do this, if I'm perfect, I'm protecting
mm.
myself. If I am pleasing people in my life, my partner, my family, my neighbor, my friends, my colleagues, I'm protecting myself. You're overthinking. If you're overthinking and cannot ever switch off, again, that's a learned habit from your childhood that you adopted that as a strategy to protect you again. So when you try to heal those sides of you to see the pattern that is not really serving you, you are creating internal conflict, and that's really is not confidence. That's why you need self-compassion. You really need to see yourself, see your patterns and the feelings. We will never know how people are feeling.
Yeah.
I I will only know if you share it with me because we are very good at looking the part. Women are excellent at performing in the boardrooms when they are the only woman in the on the table. We are performers in the circles of friendship that we meet. We can look the part. And how many couples you've seen that they looked like they're a great family on the outside, and 3 months later you find out that they're going through divorce because
Yeah.
they look the part. We're so good at performing, but self-compassion is really allows you to say, I am, I deserve to be in peace with myself and
Yeah.
say my truth. I don't have to try to fit into this space that was never built for me. Because most people do that to not be lonely.
Yeah.
Because loneliness is scary. I have been alone so much, especially as an immigrant who came here and made this country my home. I have really gone through that loneliness, and I found myself in the rooms and circles of people not to be alone, but it
Yeah.
was actually toxicating. because I wasn't true to myself. So many women do that. They think they need to be in places. And if you have been in an environment and when you went home and you felt like exhausted, I'm sorry, but you're not in the right place.
Yeah.
Your environment shouldn't exhaust you. It should accelerate you. It should really give you more passion and love towards yourself, not question your choices, not question your look. You shouldn't feel ugly if you're with a friend. You shouldn't feel unsuccessful if you're with a friend because true friendship doesn't let you feel that way. Does
Mm.
it? Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? And now you're saying it out loud again, just even thinking about times in my life where I've performed or where I've gone to places and I've said the things that people expect from me, or I've done the things that people expect. And I think it's so fascinating. I think every single one of us has performed probably multiple times in our lives, but actually, are we really understanding at the root of, like you said, around self-compassion, around confidence? Are we being true to ourselves? And I think that's the key thing, isn't it? Are we being true to ourselves? Are we doing the things in our life that feel aligned? And actually, when we start to do that work and we start to show up as the raw, authentic version of us, it allows us to bring out that confidence, surely more.
Exactly, because women feel they doubt themselves. That self-doubt creates these reactions. And when you were little, I mean, our belief systems were built before we became the mothers and the business owners and fashion designers, or the long before you became a wife or a best friend to somebody. They were built when we were 5, 6, 7 years old. And we
Yeah.
learned at one point that I have to earn love. And I need to get it right because somehow you had to get it right to get the approval. You or you have learned that you shouldn't be too much because you take too much attention. So all of these layers of conditionings as we grow up is creating our outer reality because we are running the show from that strategy until we realize it isn't serving us. That's why
Yes.
so many women in leadership positions, in great income levels, the money doesn't give you the happiness. It can just buy you a better therapist. Do you know what I mean? It's the system is trying to keep you within what once felt safe, the system on your head. But what you need to do is that safety, is it really limiting you or is it allowing you to expand? Are you really amplifying the message that comes to you as the woman? What makes you feel like, yes, another day I'm up again? I am so driven by talking of the word confidence. I am so driven about seeing women transforming their life. But so many times, what I notice is so many people are so tied up and worried about their status quo so much
Mm.
they are not really transforming their lives. Again, they are making it look successful,
Yeah.
making it look confident, making it look happy. But inside, they are nervous, they're anxious, they're stressed, they're overwhelmed.
Mm. Do you think that there's a certain time in our lives, without sort of saying a certain age, but is there a certain time or a certain season that we go through as women where we have this kind of realization that actually we need to work on this, we need to change? Because from my own opinion, my own perspective, and what I've experienced is I had a big wake up call in my early 30s. That was the time where everything changed and I had to remove the mask. I call it the mask that I used to wear in my
Exactly.
20s.
Yeah.
And in my 30s, that was my time. And my 30s were the most incredible years because I allowed myself to really be me. And my confidence grew, but also so did my opinions and, allowing people to understand exactly who I was. So I feel like that was a key time in my life, but that was me personally. Because you work with so many incredible women, do you find that it's at certain stages of their life, or is it completely depends on the person?
It really completely depends on the person because I work with people. It's great that you got that realization in your 30s. So many women I come across and work with, and I'm so privileged. I feel privileged to be able to help and support these women. They're in their 50s, 60s, late 70s. Last night I had a workshop, and there was a woman who was 77, and all her life she was cold, she was too much and too opinionated, and she just felt to suppress her emotions and her opinions. And then she just felt squished all her life. And then one day she decided enough is enough, and now she's living her life. So it's never too late, but it's earlier the better to you live your life for you. It's your life, for goodness sake. Why would you live for somebody
Yeah.
else? Why? It's nobody else's business what you want for you. You're going to be the one who's gonna eat it. Like when you go to a restaurant, you order your own food, looking at the menu and decide what you want, what you don't want. And guess what happens? The waiter brings you what you order. So if you don't order your food, somebody else will order it for you and you may not like it. You might be vegetarian and they ordered you a steak. So come on, ladies. Just order your
Uh,
food yourself.
Yeah, no, this is great. So when people come to work with you, because I want to know more about the work that you do, because I know it's absolutely incredible and you create such huge impact for the women that you work with. So,
Yeah.
say for example, I came to you and I felt quite disconnected. I was lacking confidence. What's the first thing that you tend to do with your clients? How do you start this work that you do?
So first of all, it is the first thing is knowing that things aren't working and noticing those patterns because those women who come to me are usually the ones they see a pattern in their life of kind. And that pause, they come to my retreat is the most important. So what we do is we unpack those patterns and bring awareness to the repeating stories and issues or events that keeps happening. And once you
Mm.
bring awareness to that, once you're aware of it, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So there is a process that I would take you through. I can take you through now if you want.
Let's do it. Yes.
Yeah, so
Well,
it would be like
yeah.
I'd love you to write down the first word that comes into your mind when you think of a woman you admire. What is the first trait that you admire about them? One or two, just the first word that comes into your mind. Like, are they confident or are they strong? Are they, just think of
Yeah,
that.
so I would probably say, I mean, confidence is always one of those power words as well, isn't it? So if I'm thinking of someone that I really admire, I would say, yeah, confidence 100%. But also I would say like honesty. They're very honest. They're very, very honest, but openly honest. So open and honest as well.
Okay, that's great. That's the positive trait that you have about this woman, right? So I want you to tell me another thing. So women who triggers you the most,
Mhm.
like the difficult trait, to
Yeah.
think of it like, are they arrogant? Are they dominating? Are they attention seeking? Are they, I don't know, think of a word, one or two or three, just write it down if you've got a notepad
Yeah.
there.
Do you want me to tell them to you?
You can, but you
Yeah.
can write it down so because we will reveal it together.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. I'm gonna
Okay.
say, yeah, I've written them down. I've written them down.
Okay,
Tell me.
beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. It's really we wouldn't do it this quickly, but I just wanted for you to just little experience. So like think of your early childhood when you were
Mhm.
like 5 to 8 year old, because they are the earliest years that we can really remember consciously. Very few people would remember for like even earlier, like 4 3 4 year olds. So when you're early times of your life, what was the emotional climate that you lived in, like feelings that you often felt when you were growing up? Like how did you feel when you were growing up? Like were you in terms of like I was invisible. I felt invisible, for instance, or I was
Mm.
unseen. I was not, um, I just never felt enough. So these are the things that I felt when I was little girl. Didn't
Mm.
matter what I did, my brothers were always the first ones to talk about, but I was always the last person in the list. So think of that.
Okay.
You got it?
Again, and I know that the listeners to this podcast as well do this exercise at the same time whilst you're listening to
Yeah,
this. Write these down.
yeah.
I'm writing
It's
mine down.
incredible. It's like a magic. It's like a magic. Okay, the
So
last
good.
thing. What
Mhm.
was your survival strategy to stay safe when you felt like that?
Ooh.
What was that strategy like? What did you learn to stay? Do you know I keep talking about the strategies we made ourselves to keep us safe? So this is a
Yeah.
strategy that you must have had then. So I'll to give you my example. So when I was at that age group, I felt invisible and I just stayed small so I didn't get too much attention. That was
Yeah.
my strategy. So staying small, not being too opinionated. So that was my strategy. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got
I've got
you
that
got
down. Yeah.
it? Okay, so here is the reveal. So you've
Mm.
got one, two, three, four
Yeah.
sections. So here is what you're going to write down. My unconscious is drawn to becoming a woman who allows herself to be the first word, confident or visible, whatever that
Yeah.
was for you. But I judge or I fear when I see it as the negative trait
Got you.
because deep down I am trying to move from how you were feeling when you were a little child.
Yeah.
It was invisible. So I developed a strategy of what was the last thing you wrote?
Oh, this is so good. I really
And
like
that
that.
strategy once protected you, but today it might actually be limiting you.
Oh
That's
my
what we
God.
do. You want to share?
Powerful. Yes, I want to share.
Please do. Please
Probably listening to
do.
this going, come on, Kayleigh. Okay, amazing. Right. So the first word, or a couple of words, but the first word was again confident. I think because we're talking about the word confident, and that
Yeah.
person that I'm thinking of, yes, is really confident and inspiring, aspirational. But the word that I then associate with that a person that triggers me is loud. Loud and arrogant, loud in that way, sort of really uncomfortable to me
Yeah.
to hear, to read, to
Yeah.
watch. When I was younger, I feel I was very, I was quite happy, but I feel like I was one of those people that just tried to fit in. So I was a bit of a follower. So I don't even
Okay.
know the right word for that, but I've just written down follower because that's the first thing that came to my mind. When I was
Yeah.
young, I was happy, but I was a follower, like fit in.
To fit
Um,
in. Yeah.
yeah. And then the last bit in terms of my kind of strategy of how to deal with things was people pleasing. I was a
Okay.
huge people pleaser. That was
So
my standard.
your
Yeah.
unconscious is drawing to being a confident woman, becoming a woman who allows herself to be confident, but I judge or fear it as I see it as loud. Because deep down, I'm trying to follow the
Yes.
crowd. So I develop the people pleasing as my strategy to protect me.
Yes. Oh my
See,
God.
does that give you goosebumps?
Yeah, like it actually does. Doing that exercise is incredible. I'm so
Yeah, so
glad that we did this live, and I really hope that our
exactly. And
listeners
it
have done
is
as
how
well.
it's limiting you. How is it limiting us? If you can work through this in every part of your life, you're gonna see that whole it's like magic because
Yeah.
were we were we created who we are when long, long, long before we consciously remember it. So the work we do, it starts with this very small exercise. And then what we do, we go through the 5 trauma imprints that we don't, I am not interested in the actual story because stories, if you can, you saw that I didn't ask you what happened. I asked you how you felt. The feeling is
Yes.
what we carry with us throughout our life. We don't remember the whole story, and sometimes stories we can make up. How I remember
Mm,
what happened to our household when I was a little girl is very different to the story my both other brothers are saying, because
I see.
we all felt different, because
Mm,
what the trauma is never what happened to you. It is what happens and how you feel inside of you because of what happens to you. And that feeling stays with you. So if you can focus on the feelings, that's why when you talk about manifestation, they talk about the
mhm,
feeling. And then I get all these rejections of saying, yeah, but I don't know how it feels like. And then I would say, well, then why do you want it? If you don't know how it feels like, why do you want to be that? Because
mm,
what at the end of the day, what we want is the feeling,
of
not the
course.
thing. It's not the thing.
Yeah.
It's not the house. It's not the Bentley. It's not the, it is the feeling. I want a partner because I want to feel loved. I want the house because I want comfort. I want the car, luxury car, because I want to feel. Do you see? It's the feeling. So why don't you just focus on the feeling? And then it just opens the layers. And we use breath work to rewrite the whole story again. But your job is to stay with it and commit to it and do it again and again and again. Choose you every day and order your own food yourself every single day. That's the magic. Otherwise, there's
Yes.
no magic.
Staying with it, staying committed, and
Yeah.
it just incredible. It's incredible the obviously the work that you do, and I think hearing this today, for those listening to the podcast, again, really thinking about the feeling, the emotions, what we feel, how we feel. It's not the things that we have. It's the emotions that are connected and the feeling, and it's fascinating because I think back to some of the key moments of my life, both good and bad. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that made me feel really bad, like really, really low and really excited and like absolutely, I was ecstatic. And it's amazing, isn't it? Because it's fascinating. I know, I know we could talk about this for hours. Like it really does fascinate me.
That's why it's not people are not lacking confidence. They are
Mm,
disconnected from themselves. So what
yes.
they are experiencing is not who you are, it's the pattern. The patterns can be seen if you really sit with it. Because once they are seen, you can begin to loosen what's holding you. So once you see, like you become I I'm not saying you are doing this now, but maybe you are. Maybe without realizing you are people pleasing, even choosing the certain programs to offer it to your clients because you are still people pleasing. You want to please them because you are in the service of others. There's
Mm,
nothing wrong with that, but when you understand that you are disconnected and you're constantly chasing the next thing, the next success, the next car, next house. It just never ends. It
mm.
never ends. When you look at those really successful people, I have few clients who are absolutely minted. They're constantly chasing. They own houses that they have never even been into because it's never enough. You know that Netflix series called Breaking Bad. Have you watched it?
Oh yes,
You
brilliant
know,
series.
we know that on one of the sessions, the program that bit that the wife takes him into this locker and he's piled with cash, and she says,
Yes.
"When is it enough?
Yeah.
When are you gonna stop?" It's because he is disconnected from it. It's actually quite a deep movie when you look at it from the personal development perspective. You see what they are working on there is the not enoughness. So
Yeah.
what I do is I help you connect with yourself so you live for you. So you're not chasing something next because you're trying to fit in because that's because what you want to do.
And with that, because we're talking about connection here and connecting with ourselves, does connecting with others also play a part of this? Does it influence our ability to lead as entrepreneurs, our listeners are entrepreneurs, or to show up with confidence as individuals? How does that affect it? Because the connection to ourselves is really important. What about the connection to other people? Is that important as well when it comes to the work that you do?
So when you are connected to yourself fully, truly, and knowing your truth,
Mm,
and you will align yourself with that truth and who you surround yourself with, those
mm,
connections you have in your life, the partner that you choose, the neighborhood you want to live in, and the clients you want to work and target will be the right people to be around you. So the connections are very important. So if your connections are really trying to hold you back and keep you small so you can stay familiar to them, you've got to recalibrate. If you have to let go, you can let people go with love. Love is the main thing in the center of everything I do, and compassion is another. Um, but the connections that you have will will help you who you are, because when you are authentic, you allow the other person to be themselves without fitting them into your box, and they allow
mm,
you to be you. So there is this great cohesive relationship that both side and all sides can grow together. That's why I am such an advocate for matriarchal leadership, where we grow together, we power together. I cannot stand people power over to somebody. I know a lot, you know a lot.
mhm.
And we all know something. If you can just understand that every single one of us, that one piece of that big puzzle, and nothing will complete without neither of us, makes it so much easier. That's what I think.
Yeah. Honestly, it's incredible. Such a in-depth, incredible conversation around confidence, self-compassion, the connection. For just to kind of finish off the episode with one last question, for any of our listeners right now that might be feeling a little bit stuck, uncertain, or unsure of themselves, they might be lacking confidence. What is the one takeaway that you want them to take away or to remember from this episode?
Oh, um, I would say stop trying to become someone who has it all together, because none of us has it all together. And just be someone who who is honest.
Mm,
Because the more honest you are with yourself about your fears, about your needs, about your patterns, the less power outside the others will have over you. So from that place, you will feel the confidence isn't something that you actually chase. It's something, it naturally emerges when you stop hiding, when you stop trying to be and cover up the inner pain with all the success and
mm,
external validations of things. Just stop hiding and just be you and really accept yourself as a whole. And you will see life is liberating, because you stop chasing the pain to be right. You you just allow it to just go and be with yourself. That's what I would say.
Such a powerful ending to an incredible conversation. And I really, really hope that our listeners take so many incredible things away from this episode, as well as the incredible exercise that we did live, which is amazing. Where can people find you and connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I am active on both. Or my website is elifkose.com, elifkose.com. Or just come and join my retreats, and let's transform your life. It's life-changing, I can guarantee.
Thank you so, so much. And for those that are listening, all of the links are in the show notes. So go and have a little look, go and connect with Elif. She's incredible at what she does, an absolute trailblazer in the industry and in the online space. So thank you so, so much for coming on today's episode today.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for joining us today. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And I'll see you all again next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur Podcast with me, your host, Kayleigh Greenacre. If you are ready to build, grow, and scale your dream six-figure or multi-six-figure business, then head to our website now for more information or connect with me on socials to see how you can create your dream business and dream life.